Hello, everyone, and welcome to the High Sensitivity Podcast, and thank you for listening. This is episode 148, and if it's your first time here, we talk about video game and movie news, as well as what we watched or played over the week. My name is Barry, along with my two co-hosts.
My name's Craig, and oh snap, are we back?
We are back. My name's also Craig, and apparently it's extremely chilly over at Barry's neck of the woods.
Yep, the scarf guy.
His
now.
neck of the woods. It's
Got him.
I don't know why I did this. I don't know why I
Bazing.
do this podcast anymore.
Got him.
But what I do the podcast for is our news segment, which we have a decent amount to catch up on. So
yeah.
First up, I guess we'll go with the oldest bit of it, would be kind of the PlayStation State of Play, is what we're looking at here. A lot of VR games, which if you got the PSVR, you have to be excited about probably what you're getting. Other than that, though, there were two fighter announcements for the next Street Fighter. We had a lot of Suicide Squad gameplay, Kill the Justice League. We had Baldur's Gate 3, and I'm gonna butcher this. Chia is getting the Stray treatment and will be part of the PlayStation Plus free games which I'm excited for, because I don't know whether or not I would have bought the game to begin with. So that is probably a smart marketing move on Sony's part. But, for announcements wise or for overall impressions, what did you guys think?
Nah.
Yeah.
That's how state of plays are now.
Yeah.
To me. Nah.
I tell you what, like my like the impression that jumps out at me the most is it like almost completely killed my buzz for Suicide Squad. Because I just think
you didn't like the gameplay?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still gonna play it and but like I was super excited. I don't know, just something about like when they did the pause menu and all the, I don't know, it just looked like a almost a Destiny loot shooter with all the stuff you're equipping, and I was like, that's not what I want out of a game like that at all. So I was super pumped for that game, and now I'm just like, we'll see. Kind of like how I felt about Forspoken.
Do you think they could have done some like Guardian of the Galaxies type of like route? Is that kind of like what the path that you wish they would have taken?
I mean, they could have, but like those type of games, and it's the same way I feel about like the Batman games and Gotham Knight. Like I like Gotham Knight, but I don't need constantly upgrading my equipment in those type of games. Just give me a good story and like let me go. I don't need that. That's not what I want.
Yeah, they it feels like everybody just needs to do gear. It just
you
need to have a gear slot in your video in your game, or it's not going to be the norm for 2023. So
yep. I hate it.
Yeah, it's just too bad that that's something we have to feel like we have to put in games right now, because like, and you mentioned a great example, like the Guardians of the Galaxy game we loved. I loved everything about that game. You don't need loot in order to. I will say that like it's kind of fundamentally different, because in Guardians of the Galaxy you only played as Star-Lord, where in this one you're playing, you can switch or play between all four of the members of the Suicide Squad that you have. So, really the only thing that I have to hope for is that the story holds up in some fashion to get me through this game, or that I have enough friends and we can create a schedule to play this game.
Yep.
I was going to say, guys, my wife and I are probably looking for a third and a fourth, because we're going to play it no matter what. So,
I mean, I feel like I'd enjoy it more if there was four of us than me trying to get through it on my own. But yeah, I like, why can't we get an Arkham Asylum type game anymore, where it's just like, every so often here's a new gadget or whatever. Like it's simple, but I just feel like it works so much better.
Yeah, but I don't know if that works with the way this game's formatted to be. Like, I think it would have worked if it was like a Harley Quinn focused game, or if you were bouncing in between missions. But especially with the kind of thing that they're going for multiplayer here, it doesn't make a lot of sense for them to do like an Arkham style, because unless you're split up, you could just cheese most of the enemies, I imagine. if you're getting grappled, your buddy can just come in and break it up, like a
Yeah.
WWE game of sorts.
True.
Yeah. I didn't like it for a different reason, Craig.
Okay.
Or at least I was turned off for a different reason. Did it look a little bit too chaotic and sloppy for you with the battle in the city in particular? I was kind of happy that they didn't show really any of the Flash actual battling
Hmm.
because I got a little nervous when they were like, "Here's Flash," and then I was like, "Are you just going to show us like a major boss battle?" Or, but you know, it looked a little too chaotic for my taste. It's probably again fun if you're with three or even four people, even probably just another person just going through the chaos with each other. But
Yeah.
I was trying to make sense of what was going on. And as they were showing each character and what they can do was easy to follow, but it was a lot of swinging and it had like a Spider-Man vibe, but like, I don't know how do you find a rhyme or reason with like starting with like a mainly a shooter game,
Hmm.
you know, but doing the same thing. I don't know. Like it's probably a lot more fun to play, but I was trying to get excited for that, and I wasn't really.
Do you think it's going to be another Avengers?
Oh God, no!
I
I hope
hope
not.
not. DC, that's
Yeah.
the last thing DC needs right now, to be honest.
Yeah.
But like the only thing that I want to say about like the boss battles is because it seems to be like a Destiny type thing. The boss battles end up not being as I think good as most people want them to, because it's pretty much like, oh, survive this phase, okay, damage phase, and then you're all four of them shooting at each other. Hopefully, you would think with the Flash, and here's just an idea, you know, you would use Boomerang Guy to trip up the Flash, so that way, when he's charging at your other people, you could trip him, and then that's when you get to do damage to him
Yeah.
or something. Because I feel like that's really the only way of like fighting the Flash. Because
Yeah,
otherwise it's going to be probably, this squad would have a very difficult time. But again, we just have to see, just have to continue to wait and see what this game will be about. I expect it. And before I give mine, what do you guys expect it to come out to, like review wise?
4 out of 10.
Wow, I
are we
was
talking
thinking like
like
7 or
ours?
6.
Are we talking about ours or what we think experts are going to rate it?
Experts, like, a Metacritic score,
Eh,
give it a 1 to 100.
45.
71.
Yeah, I think the
Nice.
average is going to be like low 70s, high 60s. I think, but
I
we have
hope
to
you're
see.
right.
Yeah, it's a
I would
lot better
take
than
that.
Craig's. Yeah,
Yeah.
Craig say this game's going to be one of the worst games of the year
Yeah.
at 45. So
That's not possible. There's a game coming that we'll talk about later that is that candidate.
fair
Oh, good
enough.
lord.
Then go ahead. Yep.
I was going to say the last thing that I wanted to say about the about PlayStation, the state of play is it just lacks the pizzazz that the other big three, sorry, the big two of the big three are doing with their showcases. I understand that this was to showcase primarily PlayStation 2 VR, but I don't know. I felt differently leaving Xbox Directs and Nintendo showcases as well. So and I love, you guys know I love Sony. I was
Mhm.
born and bred on Sony essentially. And I know that there will be more state of plays, but it was a snooze fest for me. Um Street Fighter stuff was good. I always like seeing Zangief be Zangief, but
Mhm.
like
Cammy finally got a pair of pants. That was cool.
yeah, that was
She's
that
been
was
looking for
neat.
pants for 5 games, over 5 games.
Yeah, bunch of
and then
strongly worded
uh
letters.
and then kind of the big one there too with me is like Baldur's Gate 3 coming to PlayStation. That, like, for me, I'm excited for Baldur's Gate 3. It's a D&D type experience. It's a really good D&D type experience, to play with your friends. For the most part, I don't know if my computer is going to be able to run it, because it is a very, high intense game with a lot of stuff going on, and a very large game as well. To know it's coming on PlayStation is a really, really good idea for them. Just because
Yep.
now you not only get like the PC players, but also a lot of console players who I think will end up playing this, because D&D, from my perspective, continues to be gaining, more popularity again. It seems to be, you know, a lot more popular than it was, before COVID came around and shut
Yeah.
everybody inside.
Give me real quick. your predicted Rotten Tomatoes score for the Dungeons and Dragons movie coming out.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
The thing is like for well, no, wait, no, sorry, I'm thinking Metacritic, Rotten Tomatoes, huh?
No, Rotten
Um,
Tomatoes. So
uh,
60 is considered fresh.
yeah, 60 is considered fresh. I think it's gonna hover probably around seven. I'm gonna go with 72. I'm gonna go with
Okay.
72.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
I think it's just going to be a fun action flick. To be honest, it's just a fantasy action flick where there's going to be some references to D&D, but you really can't make it like a
Yeah, you
you
got to
really
keep
can't
it
make it
light.
D yeah, you really can't make it
Hmm.
too D&D like, or else you're just going to have Chris Pine rolling for initiative, every time he wants to do
Yep.
something.
Yes.
There will be a slight joke about rolling for
Sure.
initiative in there. And that's what solely will give it the 70 like one. If that joke isn't in there, it's a 30. It's a rotten.
Yeah. I feel like it's going to be a positive review score on
I
it.
think so too.
Maybe like 65 ish. I hope it's good. I don't even like D&D, but like that kind of stuff needs to exist. It helps.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
and that's primarily why I'm hoping like if it gets anything higher than a 71, I would be really really surprised.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, so that's it for the PlayStation State of Play. You guys are more than welcome to go into your news. Let's see
Sure.
what you guys got.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a couple here. One, we got news that Blumhouse is launching a video game division. Good news for horror fans everywhere that we could get
Sick.
some sweet uh video game horror news out there eventually, probably a couple years down the road. Barry, I know you're super excited for that.
Yes, this is what he's been
Yes.
waiting for.
More, I guess specifically for me, it's like that roster of movies that they've published in video game form could be pretty good.
Yeah. Also, there's the Blumhouse effect, which is taking all of those little studios and those indies and
Yep.
sucking them in and just putting Blumhouse on the top.
Yep.
Which is no offense, but like that's essentially you're not watching a scary movie nowadays without seeing Blumhouse producing or some
Yep.
type of picture there. So,
Yeah.
um,
They're like
it
the Disney of horror.
exactly, and it's a great algorithm. Props to him for like cornering a market and essentially monopolizing a certain genre. But uh, it's interesting to see what it would be like in a couple of years.
Yeah, for sure. Um, this next one I thought was super cool. We got a leak of Nintendo TV. If you heard about this yet, this seems pretty crazy. So supposedly Nintendo's making its own streaming service. And a couple of the highlights that I found on here that I thought were super interesting. The Mario movie and Detective Pikachu will be on there
Mm.
streaming. The old Mario shows are supposed to be on there. Pokemon TV is being merged into it. Kirby Right Back at You. I don't even know what that is. Do you know what that is? I've never heard of that.
It sounds
Apparently, it's
like a
some sort of
dev.
show. Yeah.
Sounds like
Um,
Def Comedy Jam, but with Kirby. That's what it sounds like.
yeah. Some shorter animations for Pikmin and Star Fox are supposed to be on there. But the new stuff is what caught my eye. Supposedly a one season Zelda anime animated by Shaft. That's kind of
Yeah, yeah.
cool. But the big one that I thought was super cool is a Metroid show made by the same people behind the Castlevania show on Netflix. That could be like, mwah, you know what I mean?
Chef Chef's kiss.
Yeah, the only thing with a Metroid like show is like it has kind of the creepy element to it that I think a lot of people would like, monsters, exploring that kind
Yeah.
of thing. I think it would just be really hard for it to be a solo movie with
Mm-hmm.
just Samus walking around because like let's be fair, if you played any real Samus or Metroid game, it's just Samus and it's just there's not a lot of talking, so you kind of have to make a story and you may need to have something where she's with a crew of other Samus or maybe a crew that is maybe cannon fodder to say that
Yeah.
eventually dies or something like that. Like in order to grow her character out, it can't just be her reading logs and that kind of thing. You'd have to, unless like it's super like horror creepy type,
Mm-hmm.
which it's Nintendo.
Right.
it would be hard to really do that kind of show that's just on her own. But
Yeah.
we'll have to see.
So, I mean, Samus is a bounty hunter. They could bring in a bounty hunter league, right? And that could
Yeah.
get you some other
Yeah.
characters.
Yep.
They,
Go ahead.
they would at least have to give her like a Cortana like character like in the
Right.
background talking to her in her helmet or something, some type of back and forth. I agree, Barry.
The thing that I thought of was my initial thought was like, oh, okay, it's Nintendo. How much are they going to charge a month for this thing? You know, is this a $9.99 or whatever? But then I thought, do you think maybe they roll it in with their Nintendo Online, like include it
Ooh, that one's
as
rough
like
because like
the high end one, the one you pay more for?
yeah, because to be fair, like it's already a pretty good deal. Like
Mm-hmm.
in my eyes, like what they've done with the expansion pack so far, I don't think so, and I don't think it can cost any more than like the base Paramount, which would
Right.
be like I think $6 or $7 a month.
Yeah.
Uh,
It doesn't seem
Ni-
like they're going to have a whole lot to put on there to begin with.
exactly. Nintendo's property is very limiting. Now, Pokemon TV, yes, like there are thousands of episodes of Pokemon that you can go through, and you have
Right.
enough content in Pokemon to watch for almost a millennium, probably, or at least a couple of years. So you have to keep that in mind when it comes to this. But I think that's a really good idea for them to kind of just merge the two together,
Mm-hmm.
because Pokemon TV, I'm not sure how popular it is, like, to be honest, because a lot of the times it's not really an app you can get on a TV or an
Right.
app you can get somewhere else. You can get it on your phone for the most part. So if it's something where, I could download it as a streaming service on my TV, I think you'll see like Pokemon TV become a lot more popular with, kids or even adults who are just trying to watch Pokemon.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I just like, if you don't like Pokemon, like I don't hate Pokemon, but I'm not like a huge fan of the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody like me, like, all right, I pay the $6 and I watch the Super Mario movie and then like maybe this Metroid show and then cancel it.
Yeah.
Because like the Pokemon's not going to keep me around.
Yeah.
Get your money's worth. I
Yeah,
mean, you get your money's worth right there.
true. I mean, but then again, I probably wouldn't do that anyway because I'll go see Super Mario in theaters anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
like, why would I need to watch it again on streaming? If it's that good, I'll just buy
Yeah.
it. And then the last thing I have ties into Nintendo again. Technically, it's Pokemon. We have to talk about Pokemon Sleep. Uh, what in the world? Oh my god! I had to like I was watching the video of them explaining it, and I was like, okay, I get this. It's like a sleep app, kind of like Pokemon Go, where you can collect Pokemon. But then, of course, they had to have the accessory, which of course they called, what was it, like the Pokemon Plus Plus is what they
Pokemon
called it.
Go plus plus. Yeah.
Plus 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 Plus. I know people are going to buy this. You know they will. But the idea of like, if I know a ton of people are still into Pokemon Go. I am not one of them anymore. But I would be tempted to at least try it out, like the Pokemon Sleep app. But I don't sleep with my phone like right next to me though, and you kind of have to have it close, from what I understand. I don't know, Barry. Are you excited? Are you buying the Pokemon Go Plus Plus?
So I probably won't. I don't see much of a need
Yes, he
for it,
is.
to be honest. Uh, well, like the only thing it
It
is it
sings you
makes it easy.
lullabies.
Yeah, but the only thing is it makes it easier for you. Like you don't have to remember to go into your phone, go
Yeah.
into the app, start the Pokemon Sleep. You just press a
Mhm.
button and then it starts. So I do see the ease
Right.
of that, but a lot of the times too, like, and it's only doing the same sleeping application or the same kind of sleeping stuff that Google has on their Google Homes, or that you're
Mm-hmm.
most of the time if you sleep with a smartwatch, you get better in depth stuff. But it's just pretty much
Yep.
a microphone going on, and it's listening to how you sleep, listening to what listening for movement, snoring, shuffling around, waking up kind of thing. So it's
So
it's
a
kind of all
stalker.
over the
Yeah.
place. Yeah, like, again, Google does the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
thing already. I have it in my Google Home. So this is just a nicer way of, so to say, making Pokemon more about it. Like, it's just funny to me how there's Pokemon Sleep that's supposed to make you want to get up, which, let's be honest here, nobody's wants to get up from sleeping.
Right.
If
No.
possible, I would sleep for 7 days straight if I could. But then there's Pokemon. There used to be an app with Pokemon Brush where it would, help you with like brushing your teeth and stuff like
Yep.
that. So it's like I'm waiting for the point where eventually Pokemon is just part of my everyday. I wake up to Pokemon,
Yeah.
I brush my
Yep.
teeth to Pokemon, I eat breakfast with my Pokemon. I
Pokemon
like
dietary app.
yeah,
Pokemon
exactly.
diets. Yeah. It's got to have that successful food portion like in
Yeah.
the last Pokemon.
Yep.
I
But yeah,
don't know. I mean,
that's
I'm sure it's going to be cool. I'm sure people will use it, but
Yeah.
man, they are just like anything they can get their hands on, they're slapping Pokemon on at this point.
I mean, it's because they know, like, it's Pokemon is that big of a monster at this point where if it says it, we're going to try it. We're going to test it out. We're going to be at least read about it, which is what they want.
Yeah. That was all I had.
Yeah, well,
All right.
just before Craig starts, like the one other thing about like the Pokemon News Direct
Sure.
was,
Yeah, go ahead.
one, you're getting a premium. They're going to be selling later this year a premium playmat and deck of the original Pokemon cards, with decks themed around Blastoise, Charizard, and Venusaur. They call this premium. I am just so interested to see what this thing is going to cost because it is going to sell like crazy.
Yep.
And if they're calling it premium, like I have to imagine this thing's at least $200 or something like that, like something kind of ridiculous, to be honest. And then on top of that, too, we got the new Pokemon DLC announcement. There's a Wave 1 and 2, one coming out in fall, one coming out in winter. They just showed the legendaries for it. One's like a weird mask monkey Pokemon, it seems like, and the other one looks like a ocean type Pokemon. I don't know, it's a little strange. But we got the announcement of DLC. I was hoping they were going to like say sorry, to be honest, for how bad Scarlet and them like launched, but they didn't. They just went right into the DLC. So it is what it is with Pokemon. They're just going to ignore the problem and be like, it doesn't matter. You bought it anyway, you losers.
Yep. And you're going to buy the DLC.
Yes.
Yes.
To be fair, the DLC I think is $35, which is a little bit better than the DLC cost for Sword and Shield.
That's so high, though.
That is.
It should be like $20.
Yeah, there's not a sorry discount. Like, where's this? Where's the sorry discount?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's at least it for the Pokemon news stuff. You can go ahead, Craig. I just figured it was best to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
If I could say something, Fire Emblem has 4 waves with their DLC.
True.
Yep, bought that.
Boom. So did I.
Some people might say it's the better game.
yeah, I agree with that.
So I got a couple of things. First one caught my eye because of you, Craig. Power Wash Simulator, which has been doing some very interesting things. On March 2nd is dropping a Final Fantasy VII specific update, which essentially allows you to power wash some of your favorite locations in Final Fantasy VII. Now, I have been unbeknownst to what they've been doing. But apparently they also recently dropped a Tomb Raider specific where you can clean the Croft Mansion.
Oh, I've been cleaning it.
So
also free, by the way. Free DLC.
Also free DLC. Free DLC. Now that turns my eye. That's a very, very smart move by them because what you're doing is you're taking what is essentially a great, I would consider Power Wash a properly marketed sensation for what it is. I think it showed up in the right places. It turned enough heads. And for people like me, it's just, I'm not a simulator guy, but I'm a Final Fantasy guy.
Yeah, I might just buy it now.
It's a fantastic game. You
probably get to power wash the bar.
Yeah.
The reactor, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe the reactor. Definitely a NACO. Yeah. So that just, I had to read that when I saw that pop out. Also, Dead Island 2 is releasing a week early now. So it's moving to, I believe, April 21st.
Man, this early stuff, Jesus. Wow.
Yep.
So I feel like I'm not getting a break.
Now, according to the official reports, it's certified gold already. And that was the reason why, as a celebration, they moved it ahead early. Not to be confused with the speculation, which is that Jedi Survivor also comes out the same day after Jedi Survivor got moved back. So maybe they don't want the Elden Ring Forbidden West kind of deal there. Maybe we just
Yep.
want to do separate days in the same month. But for people like myself and my wife who are very interested to play that together, that's some good news there. The other thing I had was Bungie recently won a legal battle after a 2-year legal battle against aim junkies for the creation of aim bots within their game. And they were rewarded $4,396,222 in legal fees and damages.
That's probably just enough
Now,
to pay the lawyers. You're
Yeah,
not.
probably.
yeah, if you're thinking of so like what disgusted me is what disgusts people about sometimes the justice system, which includes the length. Like it took them 2 years to do this, but the gamer in me who has been in situations in very popular first-person shooters, third-person shooters, like all the big names, Destiny 2, COD, like all of these, and thinking that somebody's using aimbot or like that person's aim's a little too good.
Yeah.
Granted, Destiny 2 does have a different team algorithm than something like Call of Duty or such, but it was nice to see a win against cheaters, and specifically a company or a party that dedicates their life, to creating cheat software.
Yeah.
So props to
That's a
Bungie.
good point. Yeah.
On the opposite end, something that I didn't know, Roblox recently reported their earnings, and actually they lost $1 billion
Oof.
in 2022.
How?
And I don't know.
The
I don't
horror,
know.
the horror of it all.
Now, I'm not sitting at that table. They reported it technically as a 1 billion net loss during 2022. I don't know much about the Roblox world, but I do know that every person between 6 and 13 has probably toyed with playing with it.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, that's the game that brings families together. I have friends who are parents who not only have gotten into Roblox, not only have kids who are into Roblox, but therefore have gotten into Roblox themselves. I don't know how you lose that much.
Yeah.
But apparently they're not doing as hot as they would normally like. So
Interesting.
So a win and a loss is what
That's
I'm
like
ending with here.
blowing my mind how you lose $1 billion. That's so weird because they have so much merch out there that you can buy. Like go into like a Walmart and Target and look at all the Roblox stuff that's out there on top of, in-game advertisements and that kind of stuff. But maybe it's just fallen off. I haven't paid attention as much to it since my kid has gotten older. She doesn't play it as much as she used to, but like she used to play it like every single day on her iPad, every day. And like we would play with her too. Like I'd play certain whatever game she was playing, but I don't know. I just assumed it was still going strong, even though I haven't kept an eye on it.
Yeah.
And then before we get into games, I just did want to go over the the PSVR 2 reviews have come in, and they are pretty good. From what most people are saying, the PSVR 2 is a very notable upgrade over the previous one. It continues to get compared to more expensive systems. So I feel like now that it's come out, you've kind of seen what the reviews are. I really don't think it's fair to review the VR2 and compare it to the Quest 2 because they are essentially different machines where the VR2 is looking to compare with the Meta Quest Pro, which it does seem to do so.
Yeah.
And then the Quest 2, which seems to be your gateway affordable VR machine is what the difference between those two is. It's going to be up to Sony whether or not they continue to support it. According to that state of play, there are a lot of games coming out for it, which is good. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of, it. I really just wish, and maybe we eventually get it with how they're doing it with, like, PlayStation games coming to Steam and other. Maybe eventually we get some some PS VR games coming to the Quest and to other ones. after years of them being out, maybe is what'll happen. So we just have to continue to wait and see, which seems to be my motto with this stuff. But good for the PSVR 2. I know the sales numbers aren't what they want it to be, but at least it looks like they put out a good product.
What number, like let's say there was a sale Christmas, what number would you gentlemen buy it? Like what would be
300.
the like
I wouldn't.
300?
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
No, there's no number that's going to make me buy that thing.
Okay.
There's just nothing there exclusive wise that makes me think I need another VR headset in my house.
Got it.
If I'm going to spend that kind of money, I would get, I already have the Quest, but I would get something that just plugs into my PC anyway.
It would have to be 350 or 4 for me. But I am also a household of 2 gamers with only 1 VR headset. So if anything, it would be getting that so that we could do VR together.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
would rather
do that. Why not just get another Quest?
Yeah, exactly.
And that way you two could do things to play things together, because it's both on the same console there. At least that's
exactly.
My thinking of the 300 was, what's the maximum I would pay for it to me consider buying it. I guess for Craig, he says, if he was forced to buy it, he probably would have said it'd have to be given to him for free, or maybe like $10.
200.
Okay, there we go. So we got a number, 200.
200.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, there we go. So
how long would you say that they supported the last PlayStation VR? How many years?
Oh, I did.
Because they gave up quick.
Like, it feels like it was only 2 or 3.
Okay, and then take the sales that did, because it did extremely well compared to how this one's doing. And I think part of it has to do with the fact that people, even though they're more available, people are still trying to find a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Right? So like expecting them to sell a lot of headsets when people are still trying to buy it, and then in turn being like, I just paid $500 for the system. Now you want me to pay how much for the VR as well? No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
For what? To play Horizon? It's not going to happen.
Yeah, which is essentially the climb game with Horizon.
Yeah.
It's essentially that. And so.
Yeah, I don't think I don't know. Maybe I'm not optimistic enough, but I'm going to say 3 years tops they support this thing, maybe 2, before they just don't care anymore like the last one. I can't even name more than like 5 games that came out on the PlayStation VR, the original, that were exclusive. There was the Blood and Truth?
Blood and Truth, yeah.
Moss.
Moss was originally, but now
it's on Oculus now.
Yeah.
What else was there? Iron Man, but now that's on Oculus.
Yeah, Iron Man VR. Yeah, so maybe eventually we do get it, with that kind of track record. But it's just too bad it's going to take forever to get there.
Yeah.
All right. So games we played this week. Sorry for my lack of games. Coming back from vacation, I am 4 games behind now. All Switch games. But I do have impressions for Octopath Traveler 2, and I played a lot of Atomic Heart today, so I have a good amount of impressions on that. What about you guys?
I also have Octopath and Atomic Heart. I finished Hogwarts. I have Wild Hearts, and also Wanted Dead. And I have, but did not start Like a Dragon yet. That's on the list for this week. I didn't start it yet.
All right. So I really wanted to finish Hogwarts Legacy, so that is done. That was a lot of what I did this time since the last podcast. I did do the EA Play, not trailer, but what do you call it? Demo for trial. Thank you, for Wild Hearts. So I have my impressions on that. I played Atomic Heart. I would not say a lot. I would not say a little, but I am like an hour and a half in, so I do have a first impression on Atomic Heart. And I jumped back into Fire Emblem Engage because I needed something that wasn't intense, and that was like a little lighter and on a Switch with nice colors and and happy tropes. So those are my 4.
All right. So, what do you want to start with? So, okay. So, here's what we'll do. Oldest game first is either going to be Hogwarts Legacy or Fire Emblem. So,
Yeah.
let's go fire. Let's go your Fire Emblem. I played a lot of that during vacation as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So, if you have any questions about it, as your resident Fire Emblem expert, I will help. But jumping back into Fire Emblem, how are you feeling about the experience of it more fully now?
So the only issue that I have with Fire Emblem, beautiful game, top. I don't know why I'm thinking 11, but top 11. Maybe I'm trying to play it safe. Top 11 looking games that I've seen on the Switch. I think since I've gotten a Switch. I know that's a very very bold claim, but it looks quite beautiful. But they do spread out new mechanics that they introduce. But the issue sometimes that I have with Fire Emblem is it tries to do 75 things. So I mean, I have an issue with games when I get back to a hub base when the time at the hub base takes just the same, if not more, than the amount of time that I spent in the battle itself. I'm in chapter 8 or 9, or that is the battle I'm going to. It's one or the other. So I know that. I mean, it's great seeing a lot of the old Fire Emblem characters. Everybody from like Byleth to Corin to just Roy, Marth, Ike, like all of those guys being introduced. Like I know that there's some that I haven't gotten yet, but I know they're in there. That's one of my favorite parts, customizing your characters with those particular people. But it's a lot when you get back to the Samil. It's a lot. You have to pet this particular, what's essentially an animal, and you got to do that so that you get this, and then you go and then you try to make sure that the animals that you adopted from what you saved from the battlefield, you got to get them good. You got to talk to everybody. Got to talk to everybody. They all have one line things to say, but nobody stands near each other because like normal humans, they don't cluster together. They all stand in different parts of the map. So you got to go over here and you got to talk to this person, and then you got to pick up berries, and then you got to go over here. Like, I know I'm simplifying it just for some type of comedic effect, but it takes me 35 minutes. And maybe I don't have a rhythm yet, but it takes me like 30 to 35 minutes to get ready to battle for 30 35 minutes. And that's my only issue. I love the game. Other than that, I love the game. I love the classic corny, my name is Steven and I will be with you wherever, like throughout the end, or like whatever. I like that kind of stuff. But that's my only gripe. Barry, I don't know how you feel. I was worried the entire time I was saying that.
Now, the Somniel does have a little bit of like issues when it comes to like how long you have to spend in it. Now, later maps, I find for me, I spend about an hour like in a battle. So it's not like 30-35 minutes. I am playing all classic, so I'm trying to be very careful, look at each
Yeah.
decision and stuff. So I am playing a bit more carefully than probably others would with like a 35-minute map. But with the Somniel, I totally agree. Like I have a rhythm that I go to this spot first, I go to this spot, I get to this spot, and like everything goes around itself, so I don't have to be looping back and forth between everybody for it. So it's like I've learned and gotten my rhythm down. So my Somnial experience is about maybe 20 minutes, and it's just because I know where to go, how to get to
Mm-hmm.
everything, and how not to overlap while running around.
Got it.
So it is there, but it's a lot of micromanaging, which people of Fire Emblem either seem to enjoy or not enjoy so much. People want to get more into the main meat of the game, which is the battles and the relationship portion of things. I'll admit the relationship stuff is like very corny. People are just corny in these things, but that's just the way.
I
The
mean,
the
I like
script's
that.
written for, yeah, the script
Yeah.
is written for these characters. I like to get to know more about them and see the interactions because truly, you know, I can't imagine how much time goes into all of these conversations where each character has to interact with another character differently. So you have,
Mm-hmm.
the shy archer that demeans himself and Allchrist, and then you have the princess and the prince from Psalm, who are very outgoing characters, and they clash because
Mhm.
he's very timid and to himself, and then the people of Psalm, the prince and the princess, are more, upgoing, upbeat, loud, um, and like carefree in a way. So it's just like I can't imagine all the work that goes into writing that stuff. So I always appreciate that as well. But sometimes, especially coming off of Three Houses, where the dialogue seems to have more of a purpose and is a lot more serious than the other ones. So that's where I'm
That's a
with
good
that.
point.
But yeah, I think for the most part, like your gripes with the game are all fair.
That being said, I do like the game more than the gripes and my face and my mocking. I do like the game a lot more than meets the eye. All right. So I want you to know that the soundtrack slaps. Um, so it sounds good. It sounds good doing the things that you're doing. And I do like the tactical gameplay. The gameplay is fantastic. So I didn't even say one word about that, and I just didn't do it justice there. The gameplay is fantastic. The new mechanics they offered are great, and the level of skill that it takes to understand terrain and then master where you're going to go, who you're going to place where, who's going to be first, and who you move, who's going to be last when you engage. When you utilize the engage function, oh my gosh, the amount of times I rewound because I didn't do it right, so there is that gameplay. So like don't take my gripes for not liking the game at all because I'm having such a fun time. And I did pick up like this week after I beat Hogwarts Legacy and I like picked up right in chapter 3. So like I had to relearn things because I
Hmm.
hadn't played it since it came out because, I've been playing literally everything except it unfortunately. So take that into account as well. But great game.
Yeah, I agree. It's good. I the only thing that I will say that I do wish this Fire Emblem game had is if you find yourself as a map completionist, like the thing is every time in this game, like let's say before you get into a chapter, you could do a bunch of side battles and then go into the chapter. But these side battle things, they just keep refreshing. So if you beat them all in a day, then do a chapter, you get a bunch more side battles. Or you can just wait a day in like real time and then those battles refresh. So I find for me like my characters are wildly over leveled when it comes to the chapter story missions because I've been doing some of the side missions to earn gold. And now that I remember on top of that too, earning gold is whack in this game. It doesn't make any sense. You should earn more gold. So I really hope they fix that at some point, but you don't earn
It's
enough
whack.
gold in this game to fund an army. So I'll just keep that in mind. Your gold is precious. Don't spend it frivolously.
Got it.
But you two finished Hogwarts Legacy. I
Yep.
spent a week in Hogwarts Land. How is
There you
Hogwarts
go.
Legacy?
Okay. So the first thing that I want to say, having beat it, and again, we'll avoid spoilers since you haven't beat it, Barry. Um, having getting to the end of the game and specifically talking about like the last mission, right? Um, that last mission to me gave me the same feelings that I did when I watched Deathly Hallows Part 2, the end of that movie, where you're just like, "Oh yeah, let's go."
I know
Like,
what you're talking about.
and to me, I'm sitting there playing that mission and I'm like, I can't remember the last time in the past year or two where a game has just completely nailed an ending for me, and this is one of them. Um, this is one of the greatest games I've ever played, hands down, hands down. Um, I don't know where it ends up on my list. I'd have to kind of think about that. But like when that finished, I was like, that's one of the greatest games ever made. It really is. It's going to be very hard for something else to top it this year for me, but we still got plenty of time. So we'll see. Um, the only thing that I could think of as a negative is there's too much stuff in this game. There's too much to do. I like doing all the stuff. I like the Merlin trials, but there's too many. It's fun finding the papers, but there's way too many. There's too many caves. It's just trying to fill out your book is exhausting. What I found works for me is like when you beat the game, you beat the game, but it's not over. Like there's more missions to do. And I found that like I was like this past week specifically, like I'm gonna finish this game. I'm not playing anything else until I finish this game. So I was like, head down. I'm doing the main missions. I'll worry about the other stuff later if I want to go back to it. And I found that I do want to go back to it, but I've been having more fun going back for like an hour and just doing some side missions and cleaning up some stuff and then playing something else. But it's been so, the world is so good that like I do want to do everything eventually. But now that I finished it, I feel like I can like let it breathe a little bit. Because there was a moment there where I wasn't done with the main story and I was trying to clear everything off the map and I was just getting so exhausted. I'm
Yeah.
like, this is just too much. Um, but the level of detail in this game is just absolutely incredible. Everything
Yeah.
they've done is insane. Pulling stuff from the book. If you've seen like the TikTok going around with somebody reading directly from the book about the prefect's bathroom, if you haven't, go look that up. But the prefect's bathroom is in Hogwarts in the game, and when you find it, this person just read the description from the book, and it matches exactly what's in that bathroom. So they went through like the book to figure out what everything should look like. It's just insane. But yeah, right now, easily number one game of the year for me, unless something tops it, but it's going to be very hard.
Wow. Um, I had a similar experience.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the things that you were saying, if you had to say things that this game could work on, I would agree. There
Mm-hmm.
is too much stuff. I got to a point where I wanted to finish it,
Mm-hmm.
and this is not a spoiler alert because if you've played the game, you've seen the map. But like, I got to the southern part of the map way too late.
Mm-hmm.
Way too late. Like when the game like was looking towards like I was going to finish it. And I just got more stuff. All of this stuff, and I just was disinterested because I had done 80 Merlin trials already. I'd done this.
Yep.
I mean, in Hogwarts, if you do collect enough, you start beating challenges, and then when you collect pages, it doesn't even matter.
Yep.
Like, like you get the experience, but you get more pages from every location because they're the ones that fly around.
Mm-hmm.
You get more pages from every location than what's dictated in the challenges that you get. So like there is a lot. I'm the kind of person where I beat the main story. I did get the same butterfly feelings
Yeah.
um as you did, Craig. It's definitely, it was a fantastic ending there. Um The only other thing that I can mention in addition is, and this is nitpicking, is the spell additions are great. How you acquire them are great. But once I got, what is it, Confringo? Is that the fire projectile one?
Mm-hmm.
I got Confringo and I almost never looked back.
Yeah.
And you get that 10 hours into the game or less. So certain things didn't become of importance. Lumos looked like it would have more of an effect than it
Yeah. You
actually
never use
did.
it.
You never use it except for certain Merlin trials. Like I thought that certain spells were going to be carried
Mm-hmm.
throughout the game, and it didn't happen. That's nitpicking. I'm not a wizard. I'm not in the wizarding world. I don't think they use Lumos that often anyway. I kind of remember watching Harry Potter and them using Lumos quite frequently.
Yep.
So I don't know. It's not like I'm asking for that specific spell to be used more in the game. It's just some of the spell combinations. Like you could create 4 eventually, and I created 1, and it was just like that's all I needed for like almost all of the game. And it kind of just made that a little stale. But other than that, I'm not saying, I'm confident that something will turn my eye as game of the year before the end of the year, but it's
Sure.
got to be good. It's got to
Mm-hmm.
be good. I'm thinking Suicide Squad. I'm
Maybe.
calling it.
I don't know. And like I have to give it time to cool off too. And maybe I'll be like, yeah, there's this came out this year and it was better. But like I can't think of a game that I had such a good time with in a while. You know, I
I
feel
mean,
like there was good games last year, but last year to me was like there was not a single game when we were doing game of the year where I was like, that was the best game. It blew my mind. I didn't have that moment last year.
well, I'll tell you what, Craig. What I'll say is last year, around this time, I beat Elden Ring. Oh,
Mhm.
wait, not around this time. It took me a lot longer to beat Elden Ring. It just came out this time. Yeah. In April, you couldn't have told me that any game was going to be better than Elden Ring last year. You
Mhm.
couldn't have told me that any game was going to be different from my game of the year last year. But we collectively decided on a game of the year that was an Elden Ring,
Yeah.
and it's not wrong being this hyped this early. And even with a cooldown, I expect if Hogwarts had this much effect on you,
I would have put
that
top 5 for
that
sure,
yeah,
easily.
come November, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, exactly. So
Yep. Now you just got to finish it, Barry.
I know, and I will. I have a feeling it's one of those games I will. But like, I got home to, and here's what happened with me. I went on vacation, went to Orlando, spent a week in Hogwarts World. Uh,
woo woo,
5 second review. Lines are really long.
Yep.
Um,
got it.
other than that, I came back to having Tales of Symphonia remaster, Metroid Prime remaster. I then had what were the other Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm Final Bar Line and Octopath Traveler 2. So I get home and I have these 4 games staring at me, and it's like I want to watch a Harry Potter movie instead. So
Yeah.
it's it, it's like I've of course gotten a decent amount into Octopath Traveler 2, so I feel good about that one. But I bought the season pass for Theater Rhythm Final Bar Line, and I haven't even started that game. And for me, it's okay. I got Atomic Heart now. I got to start. I got to get back into Hogwarts Legacy. Like there is no off season for gaming. Like this is
Nope.
what I get for
There's
taking
not.
a week, and all I have is my Switch. And because I buy games physically, I can't just take the games until they're I just can't download the games and have them there. I had to buy Metroid Prime physically, and who would have guessed that that game's selling for $100-$200 right now because nobody can get their hands on it.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's it's a fun time to be a physical collector of games. It's just too bad that I had to wait, and now I'm behind.
That was the main reason why I was like, because all these games, like Atomic Heart was one of them, where I was like, yes, this game came out, but I'm not even going to touch it until I finish Hogwarts because there's there's too many games coming in the next month, 2 months that like if I don't finish it now, I'm not going to
Well,
finish it,
finishing.
and I
Yep.
need to get this done. I want to give these games their time, and I'm trying this year to be better about honing in on one game and
Yeah.
either beating it or deciding I don't like it before I go to the next one. Instead of being like, oh, I'll play an hour of Hogwarts and I'll play 20 minutes of Atomic Hearts. Oh, I'm going to go play 45 minutes of Octopath. And then I
Yeah.
still got to fit in 2 hours of Call of Duty somewhere, you know? Like, I don't want to do that this year.
Craig,
Yeah.
I agree with you. That's why I'm only an hour and a half into Atomic Heart. I beat
Sure.
Hogwarts Legacy on like
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday or Thursday, and I had like enough time to start Atomic and get back. It's just
Yeah.
I'm I'm with you.
Yeah.
So speaking of
Yeah.
Octopath Traveler
Octo.
2, we'll
Yeah.
try it. We'll go into that one. So
Yeah.
Go
Octopath
ahead.
Traveler 2, very successful to the first Octopath Traveler game. Octopath Traveler 2 comes out, and it's more of a good thing, is what I want to
Yeah.
say with it. Like when it comes to the combat, but really not much else is different, which is kind of really disappointing to me. Like the the stories that we're getting with them are pretty good, like the characters with the stories, but it is just a lot of the same. And I can't help but feel this is just like you could have just made this DLC instead. Like,
Yeah.
okay, here's Octopath Traveler 2 DLC, and for $40 you're gonna get 8 new characters instead of charging 60 and doing all this stuff. Because the game doesn't look any different or any better. It's literally just the characters, the abilities they come with, and like again a lot more of a good combat system, but it's one of these games that I felt like I've played before. And with all of these other games that are going to be coming out, like Octopath Traveler 2 is going to get kind of pushed to the side because I feel like I've played it before. And unless a character story really hooks me, that game is not going to get played for a while. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my review on the thing, and I think Craig feels about the same way.
Yeah, I picked Throne, the thief. That was who
Hmm.
I picked first, and having played that, like her story, I feel like the writing got worse.
If
Um,
you think so.
yeah, it was just like, I don't know. It was super corny, and maybe it's just that one, like I don't want to judge all of them, but like right at the beginning you're playing and one of the people you're with mentions like something about like bring the cheese or something to her, and then she's like any more cheese and we'll have holes in us, or like Swiss cheese, and I was like, what is going
All
on?
right, some cheesy
This is,
dialogue, that's for sure.
oh dear lord, I was like, what is this? But yeah, you're right, it's more of the same. I don't hate it. Like, it's a good like side game for me. It's like, I have 30-45 minutes, let me go do a little bit of Octopath, but I have a feeling I'm going to end up dropping it as well because of just overwhelming amounts of games.
Yeah,
That's why I
nothing
haven't
wrong with
started it.
Octopath. Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing wrong with Octopath Traveler 2. It's more of a good thing, but
Mm-hmm.
it just, in order for like a lot of games, in order to stick with somebody, they have to be doing something new or trying something new or at least
Yeah.
grabbing you with their story. And with Octopath Traveler, the stories are a lot smaller because there's 8 different playable characters that you could start off with and go through. But you just end up kind of being like, I've played this game before. It's just different story and different characters and some different classes. Some. Uh,
Yeah.
I will admit my beginning story was not the did not was not that cheesy. I need
That's
to
good.
give me. Yeah, I picked the guy that went to jail for falsely what
Okay.
you learn for falsely killing his daughter. So or daughter and wife. So it's like there is that.
Mhm.
I found that it was I found that it was a good beginning story to the whole thing.
I
I
thought
can't
too. I was
remember
like,
his name
maybe I just
I'm
picked
looking it up.
like the one with the worst, you know, writing for the beginning of the story, which is fine. And it didn't like turn me off in the game. I was just like laughing. I was like, oh, that was a bad line. And then she is kind of almost like a servant to this group of thieves, and they call the leaders mother and father, and the mother like whips them when they don't do things correctly. I'm just like, this is weird.
It's a
uh,
lot, yeah.
it's
I picked
weird.
Oswald.
Okay. Okay.
Picked Oswald, yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I do feel like, yeah, if you haven't played one, just play the first one.
Yeah. Well, if you can
You'll be,
find the first one, to be fair,
yeah. Or
that
just
that
get it
that'll
digitally or something.
yeah, get it digitally.
Isn't
But
it
yeah,
on it's on Game Pass, I think. Or it
It
was.
is.
Yeah.
It is.
Octopath.
That's
I
how
guess
I
it
that's
was
how I started it.
Yeah.
okay.
Game Pass.
Because
Yep.
yeah, because Octopath Traveler 2 is just on PS5 and Switch. It's not
Yes.
on
Yes.
Xbox at the
Mm-hmm.
moment, or don't
Yes.
know when it will be. So just
Yeah.
keep that in mind. But before we get into Atomic Heart, what other
Mm-hmm.
games did you guys play and want to go into?
Wild
Wild Hearts? Yeah, we
Hearts.
can do Wild Hearts.
An-
Do it. It sucks. Move on. It's
it's good.
it's
It's
one of
no,
the
it's okay.
ugliest games I've ever seen.
It is. So here's what I'm doing. I
Yep.
played the demo. I
Mm-hmm.
saw the Monster Hunter tendencies. There
Yep.
are some things that they're doing differently. Like I forget what it's called because I didn't play the game like for a long time. But you're able to utilize this system where you can create things in the middle of battle to help
Yeah.
you
Like
fight
boxes.
boxes, and you
Yep.
could stack them. You can prevent the larger monsters from charging you
Mm-hmm.
by doing that, which is going to be, I could tell in the demo, going to be the trial going to be heavily utilized in
Yep.
gameplay later on. It does not run great. So
Oof.
what I'm doing is I'm just waiting till it gets like 16 patches, and then I'll go
Yep.
and buy it or wait for it to be free on
Yeah,
Game
wait for it
Pass.
to be like
So
20 or $30 and then go
Yeah.
from there
Yeah,
is
because
my
does
like
opinion
not
at
run
least.
well.
I
Yeah.
texted you like and I was like, this is, I spent a good
Yeah.
like 30 minutes trying to make it look good. And I was like, man, everything, like I switched from performance to like visual quality. And I was like, oh, that's just something's off. It doesn't, I was like messing with the HDR, and I was like, no, it just doesn't look good. And then you get to, it's right at the beginning, like the snow
Oh,
looked
it looks terrible.
so bad. It looked like, I'm talking like
Red.
PS3. Ugh,
Yeah.
it's awful. I'm like, okay, we need to optimize this game before before I show any interest in it. I think it has a good promise to it. I think it could be good. The
It
the
could be.
animals, the monsters look awesome.
They do.
But man, the game is rough. And I heard from what I saw, it's even worse on PC right now.
That's what I
So
was hearing as well.
yeah, I guess you just
But
wait this one out.
yeah, you just wait it out. Just try it,
It'll be
Barry. I
on
know
Game
that
Pass.
type of I know that type of game interests you, Barry. So you might want to try the trial if you have like I did the trial in like 5 hours. I
I
didn't even do the
I
full
gotta
10.
wait. I don't even have time to even think about Wild Hearts, to be honest. And
Yeah, that's
and
a 60-hour game.
yeah, and to be fair,
Yeah,
like it's good that you guys say that kind of stuff with like Wild Hearts. So I know for me, I don't need to run to try it. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
I'll let
don't.
them. Hopefully, there's enough support to at least patch up what seems like to be a lot of these issues. And as long as there is, it seems to be at least. And this, it's always good for the gaming community to have competition. There really
Yeah.
is no other game like Monster Hunter, so Wild Hearts kind of getting into that same formula is good for overall between both those games as long as they continue to get supported. That's going to be the
Yeah,
thing. If Wild Hearts does not do well and they do not support it, they're just going to drop it like a bag of bricks. Whereas, Monster Hunter is going to continue to do millions and millions of dollars, just because that is a tried and true formula to that for them that they don't need to change or innovate on. I believe I think it has a lot of the same problem that like the Madden, NHL, and like all the sports games have because there are no competitors to them. They don't feel the need to innovate
Yeah.
as much as they used to.
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Other than
Anything
that,
else? Yeah.
Wanted Dead came out, which I was, cautiously excited for. That game sucks. It's real
Okay.
bad. I was hoping it was going to be like just weird, kind of like Lollipop Chainsaw or Metal Gear Revengeance, but it's just bad. Like it controls bad. It looks like a PS2 game. The I don't know what country of origin this came from, but the translation over to English with the voice actors is absolutely atrocious. It's just
Mm.
awful. But yeah, I couldn't have been more disappointed playing that game. It's just a dumpster fire. So stay far away from that one.
All right. Atomic Heart then.
Yeah,
So, how many hours are you into it, Craig?
like 5 or 6.
5 or 6. Okay, I'm about 4. I'm getting pretty
Okay.
close to that as well. So, Atomic Heart, free game on Game Pass to play. Overall, I do have pretty good impressions of it. For the most part, this seems to be kind of the Bioshocky game that I was hoping for. The issues
Mhm.
I'm having are I don't know what they did with the audio, but it is not right. It is not
Mhm.
right for
Uh-uh.
me. I
Yeah.
I barely hear what the characters are saying. And
Really?
to
Yes.
for me, and this is for this, I'm playing it through a sound bar, and I'm not sure if on the headset I hear them fine. So I think there's
Okay.
something wrong with the settings in the game, but there's no way to adjust the audio. So, or like
Hmm.
I should say, the audio system, because like for me, I can barely hear what Charles and P3 are saying. I
Okay.
You have to turn it up to hear them, and it's just like I don't know how you release a game that like doesn't get tested on like a sound bar or a sound system at all, because it
Right.
does like everything else is louder than they are, and I can't
Yeah.
like I can adjust the levels, but I want the surround sound for it. I don't know, it just feels like a really weird thing with it. And my roommate is having issues with it too, where
Interesting.
the audio levels are not right when coming through a sound bar or the TV. So keep that in mind. Maybe this is going to be a game I have to play with my headset on just so I can figure out what the
Hmm.
heck's going on. Um, Overall, like I kind of feel like people have been being a bit too harsh on this game. Like a lot of people are saying the dialogue seems like cheesy and is not good. I don't know. I feel like the character's meant to be a representation of us, and he reacts a lot of the way we would as a human. So it's just like I'm not sure why people are giving it such a hard time, because I feel like the English translation or the English dub is fine. I don't have
Mhm.
any issues with it. Um, Before I get too far, what did you think?
I think like the easiest way for me to describe it is very BioShock like, which is right up my alley. And I look at this game and I'm like, this has everything that I would want to make a good game. but I can't remember a game that works so hard to make me want to hate it as this game does. Like, I enjoy the story. I think it looks gorgeous. Um, and I enjoy like exploring everywhere, but like it's just like the traversal is irritating me. The enemies are almost a little too spongy. It
Hmm.
just feels, something about it feels funky. Like the running speed is not fast enough for me, and like there's no like a hold in the left stick to sprint, like, you know, like there isn't that. Um, but like I enjoy the game itself, and I'm enjoying like I was like, oh, let's see where this story goes. But yeah, it's almost like it's like fighting me to be like, no, hate me, no, you don't like me, and I'm like, no, actually I do. I'm having fun. And it's just like, no, you're not. Um, there was near the beginning when you're trying to get, you know, get out of the area that you're in. And there's a part where you're trying to get a canister and you have to speed up the process by shocking all the different, like the 6 different areas.
Hmm.
And like, I probably spent a good 20 minutes there trying to, you're on a platform and it stops and you have to go restart it, trying to jump over there. I like kept falling and I was like, this just doesn't, something is off on these, on the traversal and movement in this game. It's just weird.
You know what
Um
that sounds like?
hmm.
That sounds like a scorn puzzle
Yeah.
length of time there. That sounds
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
scorn puzzle length of time.
It was like a moment where I literally turned the game off and I was like, I'm done with this game. And I had to like take a break and go back. Because I was like, no, I actually like what this game's doing, but it's like actively trying to push back against me for some reason. But yeah, I it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a great looking game.
my issue with the overarching world right now is just the fact that there's too many dangers. I feel like there's no
Yeah.
room to breathe for
Hmm.
me, and they all tell you about how the like there's security cameras around every corner. Like
Yep.
they're like, especially in that first area when the open world gets introduced to you, it's just like I'm overwhelmed because there's 7 different cameras. They're all trying to spot me and raise the alert level, so I'm not only trying to just at this point I'm just ignoring everything and running straight to each objective.
Yep.
And I don't feel like that's what the game wants you to do, because the game wants you to explore, find these extra parts, find the blueprints for these cool looking guns that are supposed to be in the game. But like for me, I am just far too overwhelmed and stressed with the fact that searching the world, everything, like there is no room to breathe in this world. You move
Hmm.
2 inches one way, there's something there to kill you in the next. And I completely agree. Like for the most part, I'm running into like enemies are just a little bit too squishy.
Yeah.
And like you get all these BioShock type perks, and and there's this one where it's like, okay, like the I've upgraded shock ability to where it's supposed to rebound to other people, but it only rebounds to one other person. It's like, if you get swarmed in this game, it's death.
Yep.
Like
Hmm.
it is very easy to die in this game, and I'm playing on normal difficulty, and that's fine. I've died a couple times. I haven't gotten frustrated to that point, but it sometimes it just feels like the game, again, like you mentioned, Craig, is trying to make me not like it, with the
Yeah.
fact that it's just everything's trying to kill you all of the time. There is no, oh hey, look, here's a house. Maybe I just go up to it. Oh wait, I forgot. There's this house here, but I have 7 other robots trying to kill me behind me. And if I go into this house,
Yeah.
I'm going to get cornered and then I'm going to die. And then I feel like because there is a save like option in this game, it saves for you and you can manually save, but it's not like it's saving everything you're doing. You can lose a decent amount of progress if you die, and that can be frustrating in itself.
Yeah.
Mm.
I
Also,
Go ahead.
why would you want to? Why would you want to save? Because going into the safe room has to subject you to the
You don't like
very risque. No, I mean, I saw it like
her?
It's
I was
not all the
I was
time.
playing it
It's
next.
not all the
No, it's
time.
not. It's not.
Okay, I was playing it next to my wife, so like I was like, "What the heck is this PS?"
It's so uncomfortable. Oh man, that at the beginning it's super uncomfortable. Thankfully, it goes away. But
It's like watching it's like watching most episodes of the Game of Thrones next to your parents. It's like
Mhm.
awkward. Like, you know what I mean? That's how I felt like playing this game next to my wife. Um It's like, just
Yeah.
what is this thing? Just saying. It's like it doesn't fit the rest of the mood
No, it
of the
doesn't.
entire game at all. So it's just there. I mean, there's
Oh
that,
man. Yeah.
but
I
That's funny.
so I apologize because I don't remember what YouTube channel it was, but there was a YouTube channel that I watched last week when this was coming out that was like 10 things you need to know about Atomic Heart, right? And I was watching it, and one of the things they said was when you get to the open world, just run. Do not search around, just run, for that exact reason. There's cameras everywhere. You're going to get overwhelmed. You're going to die. Later, there are these gigantic ships that control everything, and there's a way to go in and shut down that ship, which will shut down all the cameras, all the robots in the area for a short period of time, like 2 to 3 minutes. Once you get the ability to do that, that's when you can go shut it down and go do your exploring and move on. But
okay,
that helped me so much to be like, because I was the same way. I was like, this is ridiculous. But in the back of my mind, I was like, oh yeah, they said just run, just go to your objectives. It makes more sense, and you don't get so frustrated about it.
Hmm.
So yeah,
that's good to know.
when you play more, Craig, just run. Don't even
Okay, I
attempt to
will.
look around. Don't even bother. It's so obnoxious.
I definitely. What? How do you guys feel about the robotic versus the organic enemies? By the way, I don't know why I like the design of the leaf zombie
Yeah.
things. I like the design. I haven't gotten far enough to really know much about like them
Mm-hmm.
specifically, but I don't know. I'm a fan of. I mean, it's not near Dead Space creepy, but it's what they're trying to do at least to make it
They're like they're like
somewhat zombie-ish.
splicers, like the
Yeah,
splicer enemies from BioShock. That's why it's like their version of it, I guess.
yeah. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
But robotic enemies are fine. They are squishy. I agree with both of you gentlemen. Even the first
Yeah.
five things you fight, you're like, does it take this many melee strikes to kill the enemy that you're tutorializing this with me? Like, so
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, it's
Yeah.
like,
They need to tone
and
it
on
down.
top of that too, like I freeze them, and then it's just me hacking away, hacking away, hacking away. I'm like, how is this
Yep.
thing not dead yet? Like this is like it's
Yeah.
ridiculous for how much I have to do. Because for the most part, it's like, okay, freeze, hack at them. If they don't die, I shock them, which then stuns them for a minute. Hack at them again, and then by that time, I have a bit more freeze, so I freeze them again, and it's just like the same thing. It's just like
Yeah.
I wish the robot enemies didn't feel so like I needed. I wish they didn't feel like bullet sponges. Like the boss battles, I get
Yeah.
are supposed to feel like that, but
Oh yeah.
the the regular base guys, like, and I feel like they get a health increase some way through because like the regular white robots, I used to be able to shock, swipe them once, dead. Now that I'm in like this,
Yep.
now that I'm in like halfway through the second area, a shock and a swipe doesn't kill them anymore. So it's like you gotta like I feel like they just got an unnecessary health boost just to make them more difficult.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Overall, though, I think it has a good premise, and the promise is there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But it's just
we just
not
need to get
fully
further into it.
realized.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It did have it had the Bioshock Infinite moment in the beginning when you
Yep.
get into the car and you get taken around. I was like, there it is.
Yep.
That's the one. So
That whole intro was great. I thought it was
it
done
was
very
good.
well. It was cool.
yeah, and like for a game that I feel like they nail like the sarcasm of everything so far.
Mhm.
Like the way you're like they're it's two very different things when like Forspoken and the way those two talk to each other compared to the way Charles and P3 talk to each other. So it's like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's not annoying. It doesn't feel like they're being rude to each other. There's a lot of friendly banter, and sometimes he gets annoyed with the gloves because it's a know-it-all. So it's like we're getting
Yep.
there, and shout out to Grandma Xena.
She's great.
Yeah, she's the real MVP of this
Granny.
Oh
whole
my
thing.
god.
Granny.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
All right. Any other games we want to talk about before we get into movies and TV shows? All right.
Near.
So for
I've been
me,
waiting,
it's going to be. I
waiting
did
for
not
this.
watch the newest episode. I did not watch Left Behind of Last of Us yet. I
Oh,
watched the
okay.
one before it. I haven't watched. I just haven't had
Sure.
time to
Okay.
yet since getting back. But I have finished Outer Banks. I have
Same.
watched the first season of Dark on Netflix.
Okay.
It is an
Okay.
older
Great
sci-fi.
show.
Yes, that's what I'm learning right now as well. And I also started another also older show, The Good Place.
Awesome
Okay.
show. Two awesome
Yes,
shows. You're on a roll.
I am.
So I'm all caught up on The Last of Us. I also finished Outer Banks. I watched Antman. Went to the theaters to watch Antman,
Oh, I have seen
and
Antman
I
too. That is right.
and I watched Plane with Gerard Butler.
Okay. So I spent a lot of time on Hogwarts, so I don't have too
Yes.
much to watch, but I am all caught up on Last of Us.
Sweet.
And then I watched Your Place or Mine with Reese Witherspoon and Ashton Kutcher, Netflix movie. And I also watched Megan,
Unrated or regular?
unrated.
Okay, good. Perfect. I had to watch it again to watch the unrated version. Barry,
Let's see here.
Outer Banks us.
Barry, we
Outer
need to
Banks.
talk about Outer Banks.
Okay, Outer
Outer
Banks.
Bank us,
I've been
yo.
waiting. I have been waiting this whole week because
You've been banking on it.
I just go ahead. Just go ahead, Barry. Just go ahead.
So Outer Banks season 3 is it's a bit more like it's just funny to me because Outer Banks season 3 is fun. I do enjoy Outer Banks season 3 and the religion that comes with being a John B supporter, but in episode 7 it all just gets wild. It is all over the place. Like for the most part, did you enjoy your time with Outer Banks or no, Craig? Because I feel like that's what you're waiting to tell me. I feel like you're waiting to tell me you didn't like it.
This was one of the biggest crash and burns I've ever seen in a TV show. It is absolute dumpster fire. Awful. But I knew you were going to like it because of your love for John B. I
It's the
knew
re-
you were
it,
going
it,
to like it.
it's the religion of John B. And like so here's the thing. Like I I
It's so
laughed out
bad.
loud of I laughed out loud at the absurdity of everything when they find the one teacher and they hit him with a blow dart. My dad and I audibly started laughing at
Oh my
that part
God.
because
It's so bad.
it's just ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
I will admit like some of the rough parts for me in this series or with like the introduction of Big John
Ugh.
being back. Like he is not my favorite character. I hate the main villain. If you played a
Yes.
drinking game with
Agreed.
how many times the main villain says
You know.
you
You
know,
know.
and it's just like you would be dead. You would be
Yep.
legitimately dead with how many
Alcohol
times he says that.
poisoning.
Yes, alcohol poisoning, sent to the hospital. The nurse asked, "Hey, why are you drinking so much?" And then you have to tell her the embarrassing
Yes.
story of you invented a drinking game where the main villain says this one catchphrase at the end of a sentence way too many
Yep.
times. Far too many
Oh
times.
man.
Like I
Get it
can't
out,
put
Barry.
like
Get it
I
out.
can't believe I can't and I guess like now that I'm starting to get into it, like the things
Just
I
get it out.
loved. Like Rafe, still a
None of it.
psychotic, still
He's
psychotic,
great.
still
He's
fun.
great.
Ward, why like I miss when Ward was bad though. Like
Yes.
I
Agreed.
and sorry, we're getting into spoilers now.
Yeah,
But
that was gonna happen.
yeah. But like
I've been like locked and loaded on this all week. I'm like pumped up.
so like Ward, I get what they tried to do with him, and I get why. But like in the end, he just ends up reverting back to his old self for the sake of
Mhm.
trying to protect his daughter, which has been his huge character flaw. Which is
Yep.
no matter Sarah could stab him or cut out his brain or cut off his fingers. Sarah could do any sort of torture to this man, and Ward would still be, yeah, that's all right. Yeah, I love my daughter. I'll do anything for her. It's insane some of the stuff that like
That's
the
parenthood,
story
Barry.
decides to do. Huh? That's
That's
parenthood.
being a parent though. You're still
Uh,
gonna love your kids even if they're awful to you.
I suppose it just feels
I
like
don't hold
there's a
that
point.
against his character. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there's a point. And like Sarah, how dare Sarah do what she did to my religion of John B. And I
To
feel
John
like
B.
yeah, like and I get that they're just trying to make storylines for the sake of them just completely like I thought, and here's the thing, I thought Sarah was kind of interesting in the fact that okay, John is like John B is now different because his dad's back, and
Mm-hmm.
her sense of safety is gone, or the exhilaration. So Topher Topper comes back into the mix, and he's
Yeah.
now a part of the story. But then the moment John B gets freed from jail, she even says in an inner dialogue, "That's when I knew. That's when I knew I would never be with him again." I'm like, I would
Yeah.
never be with
Yeah.
Topper again. I'm like, we just spent 3 episodes on your moral dilemma, and now that he's out of jail and you've bought him a day of life, you've just decided what? Like you've just decided that yeah, he's the one. I'm gonna love him. It's like I guess I don't get it. It's young
Yeah.
dumb love,
Yeah.
and I eventually the entire trio fall in love with each other. I really like Kiara this season
Yes.
though.
Kiara's great.
I think Kiara's great. I think like JJ just ends up being like he doesn't have as much. I feel like being the main guy in the Outer Banks. Like it definitely seems to be John B, Sarah, and Kiara that get it. Like they've kind of I guess felt like JJ was just kind of meant to be there for the sake of being the dude that's crazy and coming up with ridiculous plans. I feel like is all he was good for. Um
Yes.
the ending though, like here's the thing. There's way too many questions with the ending. So Topher just what? Like I guess John B now has enough money to pay Topher off from his charges. So I
Yep.
guess that makes sense. What happens to Rafe? Like we have no idea what happens to Rafe or the
He's
daughter
just
and his
there, I'm assuming.
yeah, or the daughter and his wife
Yep.
of Ward. Like
Yep.
what? Those two just spend their lives in Guadalupe and
Well, I would
like
assume they'd come home because Ward was the only one keeping them from going back to the Outer Banks. He was wanted. They weren't.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
they
it's
could go
just
home.
yeah, it's just like well, the part of me with like
Sounds like a
Rafe.
soap opera.
Yeah.
It does.
A part of me with Rafe is just like he finally does at least something right and
Mm-hmm.
stops his dad and stops the hit on his dad that he executed. So, you know,
It
the
is a
whole
soap
point
opera.
yeah,
Yeah.
at the whole point at the end Ward eventually says like, "Hey, you've done good. You're the man of the house. Like go and do your thing." But then like, I want to know, like, I'm sorry, but we've dealt with Rafe being psychotic for a season and a half now. And does he tell the cops what he did? Did he not tell the cops what he did? Like that's the kind of stuff that like I shouldn't say worries me, but just leaves me questioning. Like there were so many introduction of characters that I did not care for, and
Yep.
or outright hated, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest, like especially with Sing and the main villain.
Yep.
But I guess like what were I liked it just because it's ridiculousness. I guess like it's one of those shows where it's just like I guess I just have to suspend everything and just enjoy the fun Fast and Furious ride that the Outer Banks is.
Don't compare this to Fast and Furious. Don't do that. That's not even on the same level. Okay.
When it comes to suspension, but go ahead, like
Okay.
here,
Okay.
yeah,
All right. So here's where I knew I was in trouble, right? Because the first two seasons are like, this is the dumbest show ever, but it's great, right? And that's how you feel about that show. It's you're not supposed to take it seriously. However, there's a moment in the very first episode where they are sneaking in through the back to this guy's house that they're trying to see, right? All the kids. And as they're sneaking there, there are crabs in the backyard. You remember this, Barry?
yes, I do, yep,
Okay. Now, I'm not even going to the fact that they're the most horribly CGI'd crabs I've ever seen in my life. They're absolutely awful. However, one of them grabs JJ with his claw, and for whatever reason, they decided to do a Scooby Doo chomp sound effect. Go
yeah,
back and watch it because it grabs him and it goes,
yeah,
and I was like, what? Why? That's when I knew I was in trouble. My other thing is Sing and Cleo, right? They should
hmm
be embarrassed with themselves for how they did their Caribbean island accents because they are absolutely atrocious. Both of them. Awful.
My see, like, I get the thing with Cleo. I don't know what Sing's trying to be. Like, that's
He's
my
trying to be the same thing. And here's the thing. When he is shown as the first villain, right? And I looked him up. His name's Andy McQueen. He's from Toronto, Canada, right? And he is of Indian descent. So it threw me off at first because I was like, why is this man of Indian descent talking with a Caribbean accent? What is going on? And they do explain it. I will give them credit for that. His grandparents, I think, came over as like servants or
yep,
slaves or something,
yep.
and that's fine. I don't mind that, but like both of them, Cleo and him, like where did they get the coaching on these accents? Because it's embarrassing. It is absolutely embarrassing how bad they are, and him saying every 3 seconds because for whatever reason he thinks that's the accent is awful. Like I was just like every time they're on screen, both of them, I'm just like, oh, stop. Please stop. It's so bad. Yeah, man, that was throwing me off. John B's dad he's not a great actor either. And like, he's just so unlikable in the entire season. He's just an awful human being. In my opinion, no redeeming qualities to him at all. And then you're supposed to care at the end for him because I didn't. Everything he does in the show is for himself. He could care less about his son, but for some reason at the end we're supposed to care about him. I do not. I don't think you do either, right?
No, the only part that, like, I get the emotional hit that they were going for, because
Mm-hmm.
John finally finds his father is alive, and
Right.
then throughout this entire thing, it just dies anyway.
He just dies
So
anyway. Okay, but the one that I've been saving because my wife is also an Outer Banks fan, but she hasn't watched this new season at all, right? So
okay.
when I finished the last episode, I had to run up there because she heard me laughing because I was laughing so hard at how ridiculous. I mean, obviously spoilers, right? I'm going to throw spoilers out there because I have
Hmm.
to tell this. So when we get to the end of this season, this whole thing is they're trying to find the city of gold, right? El Dorado. This is
Yeah.
where it all leads up to is El Dorado. They're going to find El Dorado. And this whole season is being built up as like so many people have come to try to find this and they all die. Nobody's been able to find it. The only way in is you're going to have to show yourself as what pure of heart is kind of how they word it, right? Pure of heart. So we get to the moment, and I'm like, okay, here goes John B. and Sarah. They're going in. They're going to find El Dorado. I'm super excited to see how they're going to be tested to be pure of heart. And what happens when they go in, Barry? What do they have to do? They have
Turn
to
off the
jump
lights.
over a 6-foot hole. That's it. That's all they did. They jump over a hole, and then they're there. And what? You tell me all these people couldn't jump over a 6-foot hole for
Well,
hundreds of years?
I don't
That's
Apparently
think
it?
not.
I don't think that was like the
What? Okay, so they got to the thing and she knew to turn the lights off.
well, no,
That
I
was
think the
it?
main thing there is like the whole solving of
She's
the
defending
riddle.
it. There was no riddle. They
This
turned the lights off. And then they
No, like
jumped over a hole.
the deciphering of the hieroglyphics.
Ugh,
It was
I
that
couldn't
stuff.
do it. I was laughing so hard because I was like, all right, they jumped over this hole and then they he lights the flare and they're there. Not to mention that this city of gold was literally a tiny little cavern with gold in it. Shouldn't it
Well,
be like a
yeah,
full city?
yeah. Well, like, and I feel
Yeah.
like for that
So
reason, and
bad.
this isn't me defending it at this point, but I
Yeah.
feel like at that point they didn't want to like CGI a city in or something.
Right.
So
Right.
instead, you make it a cavern of gold with like a huge pillar
Yeah.
of it, and
It's like they ran out of money and they ran out of ideas on like I was expecting like an Indiana Jones or National Treasure type of like trials that they were going to have to go through, and
yeah,
it wasn't.
and that's what it eventually feels like. Is
Yeah.
the second half of the season just feel well? I should say the last three episodes just feel like
Yeah.
a National Treasures Indiana Jones.
Yep.
But I agree. Like you're at the big moment where like there are supposed to be a lot of like these character trials of these characters, and especially for Sarah, who's probably gone through the most growth this season.
Mhm.
I would say you'd feel like she finally has to step up, and her big step up is John beat turn off the flare. Turn off the flare, and we can figure it out.
Turn the flare off. I got it.
So,
oh my god, I can't. I just like to me they tanked this series so hard. I don't expect high quality storytelling, but like it's like they didn't even know what to do and they just kind of gave up. And I'm gonna credit some of it to the fact that those two were actually dating and then they broke up. And it's very evident because they have very few scenes together. That they were like keeping them separate. You know what I mean? And that's a big problem when your two co-stars who are supposed to be in love were actually dating and now they don't like each other. Like that is going to cause a big problem. And you would hope that they can be professionals, and they were, but you could tell like 75% of the season, they're not even close to each other at all. And I think that kind of put him in a corner a little bit as far as what you can do. So you split everybody up for the whole season, like almost all of it. They're all like off doing their own thing. And it just, I don't know, to me, it didn't work. And they set up that other season in the most stupid, ridiculous way possible.
yeah. So
And
like,
I just don't care.
For me, at least with the ending, they can either just decide to leave it, which a part of me
They
kind of
won't.
hopes they do, but then they also kind of went and opened it up. It's just like,
Yeah.
but the thing is, for me, is like you had the ties to this series because Pope was a descendant, and like
Yep.
none of these characters have that descendant type factor anymore. Like I like Pope this season, and I think that's why I didn't mind Cleo, because she's meant to anchor Pope and
Yeah.
eventually get him. And I get her accent isn't the best,
It was
but
bad.
Pope is one of the better characters this season, with like his growth and understanding what he needs to do and everything like that. But it is funny just to remember that like there's an entire episode with them trying to steal a cross, and it just ends up being for nothing. Like
Yeah.
nothing
And then never
legitimately
mentioned
changes.
again. Never
Yeah,
mentioned again. Ever. They just dropped it.
yeah.
So stupid. Oh my god, I was so heated watching that. I was hate watching that entire season. Oh man. They ruined like one of my favorite Netflix shows. And it makes me angry. It's okay, you can
Yeah.
still like it. I
Yeah,
did
Outer
not like
Banks.
where it went at all.
Outer Banks, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen, the
there it
most
is.
decisive portion. What I'll say right now too is I don't see Outer Banks being a top 10 in anything that I
No.
watched this year, at least with season 3. But it is the religion that is John B that keeps me moving forward.
John B.
And John B, and it's just funny to me that how Big John calls his own son John B. Like they're you'd think like, hey son, we can do this, but he almost mentioned him as John B a majority of the time. He'll
He
say
calls him
like
like
good job.
boy and son.
Yeah, yeah, he'll be like good job boy or good job son, but like when he's talking to him he's like John B, and it's just like it's just
Yeah.
like, what parent yells at their son? Like imagine me
John B.
yelling at you. Yeah, imagine me yelling at you, Craig, and I'm looking at you, but I'm like Craig. Like I have to like yell. I have to like say your name to yell at you. I don't know. It's so strange,
Yeah,
but
it's
it
weird.
is.
It's weird.
It's a ridiculous season to follow. I feel like maybe it was just the ridiculousness kept like I guess wounding up to the point where they unfortunately mishandled, I think, some of the casting choices. Because Sing, oh my god,
Oh
every
my
time
god.
Sing's on there, I will admit Sing was like one of the breaking points of the story for me, where it's just like I as an actor, like I get that they say that. I think they end their sentences a lot with in Canada or like something like that. But I feel like I'm not sure if that's him speaking that he's doing this, or if it's in the literal script. That's like you're
I think
adding
it
this
was
to
it,
every ending.
I think it was either him or the person who wrote it who thought what a Caribbean style accent would be. Is one of the two of them being like, if I put this
Yes.
on the end, it'll make me more convincing. But all it is just become a drinking game.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's difficult to say, but
You
the
know.
polarizing season of Outer Banks 3, everybody. Will we get another
Yeah.
one? I am interested to see what happens.
We
And
better not.
I don't know. I just kind of want to see what happens next. I'll be honest.
Oh, I'll hate watch it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Let's do Last of Us.
Last of Us. Yeah. So I
Go,
already know
Craig.
what this episode's about. You guys can go into whatever you want. Like it's not a
Sure.
big spoiler for me. I know what it's about.
Well, you played the game.
Yeah, you did. But you never played the DLC though, did you?
You never. Oh yeah, that was.
That is
Barry?
correct. I never
Was
played the
that
DLC.
is that for me or for Barry?
No, Barry
No.
never played the
Oh,
DLC.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I was giddy as soon as like the episode started,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, if I see a mall in the future, then this is my jam. Sure, sure enough, when they were jumping across the rooftops, like when they were in the apartment building, I was like, is this all it's going to be? Because she kind of made it seem like that might be the surprise where they were walking up the steps and they were, they got to the 7th floor instead of her promising it was just a couple of floors. But as soon as they got to the mall, I was like, oh, thank Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is awesome. Like, perfect integration of saving Joel while tying that into why she is like of the utmost dedication to him now. Like, you could see it. I don't know where they're getting these actors from, but they're nailing it. Everybody is playing their role, and everybody's playing their role as if they want to win an Emmy, or they want to at least want to bring the character to life. They all must have been as moved by the game when they were watching the footage as we were as players as well. I don't know. I feel like just for the sake of Barry, we can jump back to the other episodes as well, because it has been a while since we've covered them, but I liked it. What did you think of the latest one there, Craig?
It's the best show on television right now.
It is.
Like, it just is.
Hands down.
I feel like I'm trying really hard, like watching this with my wife, because she, again, like hasn't played through the whole game. I try really hard when we watch the show to not sit there the whole time and be like, oh, that was in the game. Oh, that part was in the game. Because like, I feel like it's
Yes.
annoying, but like, you can't
Yeah.
help but look at that and be like, oh my God, they got that. Oh my God, they got the, I mean, in this, it was Mortal Kombat, but like they got them playing the fighting game. Oh, they got the, oh, I even told, I was sitting there, I was like, I wonder if they're going to do the Halloween store. And they did, and it's like that whole time I'm like, oh, they got the merry-go-round. Oh, they got this, like I feel so obnoxious saying that, but every single episode, you're just like, as gamers, you're like, oh man, they're doing such a good job. But when you step back and look at it, you're like, as a show, it's phenomenal. Absolutely incredible. One that like every week I'm like, man, I do not want this show to end at all.
No.
Like, I'm just, man, I'll probably, once the last one comes out, I'll probably go through and watch them all again straight through. It's just, I don't even know what else to say about the individual episodes other than that they're just absolutely killing it.
Yeah, and there's only 2 episodes left.
Yeah.
It's a 9 episode.
Just think
it's 9 episodes, I think.
Do we have 3 left?
I think
what was this, 6 or 7? We just did 6.
This was 7. This was 7.
I think we have 3 left.
Pretty sure.
No, we gotta look it up. Sure. Let's look it up. I don't want it to end regardless, because
I don't either, man.
You might be right. It might be 7 episodes, but regardless, like,
yeah, it's the 7th.
Okay. Yep. So we got 2 more. How are they going to wrap this up in 2 episodes? I feel like they got a lot more to cover, but I guess not. I guess we are getting towards the end of the game.
I guess. Riley got nailed. Mm-hmm. Like, I realize that that's a weird way of saying it, but Riley's character was acted to the utmost, like, just T for T. Mm-hmm. In terms of what you're expecting there too. And, I commend HBO for doing the after the episode, just a nice 10 minute to get you just what's going on in the head of the actors and the producers and the writers and all that. And it was kind of funny just hearing that actress talk about how she was trying to bring in somebody who can go toe to toe and also supersede Ellie's personality. And when you're watching Ellie as the show's going on and you're looking at a potential friendship slash like interest for her, you know, you immediately see their interaction and you're like, yep, that's somebody that would be a best friend of Ellie. That would be somebody that Ellie would want to spend all her time with, because her and Joel have an interesting dynamic as well. And it's not the same, but it is kind of like the butting the head thing, so I don't know. All I'll say is, like, after that particular portion of the episode that did basically represent the DLC, when they jumped back into the Joel portion, there was a look that Joel and Ellie gave each other and a handhold that almost got me crying.
Yeah.
It almost did. And like, that's exactly what I look for in a show. I look for usually a small to medium group of people that have an overwhelmingly close relationship for a either outlandish or even a more realistic reason, and for that reason are bonded together for, I don't know, the amount of time that the show is there. So that's what they're nailing. That's what the game did. It took two people in an apocalypse and asked them to go cross country, and it asked you to pay attention to what they're doing. So that's exactly what they did. Yeah. So it's great, and I like you don't want it to end as well. Go ahead.
No, do you think? I feel like this, just like Hogwarts, this is going to be tough to knock out of the #1 spot this year for TV shows.
It's gonna be tough. I'm at the end of every episode audibly saying, not even to my wife who I'm watching it with, but to myself, this is like the greatest show ever. I'm saying that. I'm saying that in the credits, and it takes something to make you say that audibly, not think it, but just say it out loud to yourself. And that's what this show is doing.
Yeah.
And I thought objectively, as I was watching it and seeing less undead or less cordyceps, that I wasn't going to like it. But why did we all like The Last of Us? Cordyceps is a different variation, but it's still a zombie game.
Yeah.
But why do we like The Last of Us? We like it for Ellie. We like it for Joel. We like it for the relationship, the trials and tribulations that they went through to get across the U.S. And that's what they're doing. There's very little cordyceps action here, and yet it is so engrossing. It is so engrossing. And like, I don't care what anybody says, like the people who say I want more zombies, whatever. I don't care that I played the video game, so I know that I wanted this. But I do believe that you can't watch this show and not walk away feeling some type of way. I don't know. That's the way that it, in a Shakespearean way, came out of me there. but like the same, I mean, it's the same reason why Walking Dead, adaptations have had the dramatic effect. After some point, it becomes less dead, and it becomes, how are humans ruining what's left of us? So,
humans will always be more menacing and scary than zombies in any zombie movie, TV show. But like, side note though, on the past episodes that we didn't go over, one, they nailed the bloater.
Yes, they did.
Two, I did not think we would get the little Joel sniping section from the game, and we did, and it was cool. I did not expect that, but that was it. I felt like that was them, like, here's your action scene, and it was intense and awesome, and you got the bloater, and it was just, that whole section was cool. Very cool.
And can we talk about the child clicker as well? Little pint-sized clicker. Yeah. That was sick.
Yeah.
She was a good villain as well. And in the back of your mind, that there's something going on beneath the town.
Yep.
And that there is something that they're hiding. And I don't know. When that truck went, I don't know if you audibly said it to yourself, but like my wife and I said it together. We were like, this is it. This has got to be it. When the truck is on fire and just in there, and obviously it looks like the main characters are going to get killed, and then the sinkhole happens, and then it's just bam.
Yep.
It's just in your face. And you're right, they did nail the bloater. Yeah. The two brothers, those actors also killed it as well.
Yep.
Way to add the death variation to the brother, because that's not in the game, but that inevitably made the performance and the adaptation of those brothers better.
Did it definitely
It made
did.
it.
I'm,
It made it
it's
better. Go
funny
ahead.
too because it's funny because like in the after the episode, Neil went, "Oh, I should have thought of that." And
Yeah.
Yeah.
like he says that in the after the episode, he's like, "I can't believe I didn't think of that myself." And it's like, it's just one of those things to elevate it, even that much more. And with like overall in this series, and I know, like for me, it's almost a personal connection to it now because I watched not the latest episode, but the episode before, um, with my parents,
Mhm.
and my mom's like they're all really into it, and my mom's asking me all these questions about the game and that kind of thing, and it's just and she's like she keeps asking me, well, what happens. I'm like, Mom, in order
You
for this
can't.
to work, you
Yeah.
have to get to the end and not know the ending.
Yep.
And
Oh my
she's like,
God. Yeah.
and like I just told them like this is all I told them is like stick with it, don't ask questions, don't get spoiled as much as you
Yeah.
can on it, because if they nail this ending, it is like that right now the only thing that could like destroy or not make it as good is that they don't nail this ending. They've set
Yeah.
up all the pieces for this ending to be what it needs to be, and like if they nail it, I will get a text message from my mom the moment she watches that episode
Yep.
and goes, "That's what I made you play when you were that's what you played when you were 15,
Yep.
16." Like
Yeah.
it's just that type of stuff, and I just hope that they continue to succeed, and I feel like they will, but like I have the ending for this drawn out in my head already that'll make it like
Yeah.
it just needs to end the way the game is.
Mm,
I mean,
yeah.
Just
in your head, um, do you see Joel running and just, yeah, like I can see it because obviously the game, but
Mm,
like I can see Pedro Pascal running through, just obliterating
yeah.
everything.
Yeah, and it's like the only thing, and like I'm not going to and the only thing I'm going to say is I just don't want the last episode to linger too much.
Yeah.
Fade to black is all I'm going like just do that.
Yeah.
Do what you
Mhm.
Yeah.
need to do to make it I'm just afraid they're going to make the last episode linger and it's not going to hit how
Well, the game
it
lingers
hit.
a little bit.
The game lingers, but like they've been doing good. They've been doing a good job with how long these episodes have been. I feel like they
Yeah.
haven't dwelled, and they've made so like hopefully there isn't a lingering
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all
like
I'm afraid of is that it's going to linger too much and that's the
Plus,
and
they already
yeah.
set up the town for the second season.
Yeah.
It's already
yes they
there.
did.
It's already there, and a certain someone's already there
Yeah,
that they already
Certain
showed.
someone is there, yeah.
But yeah,
certain someone is there. Yeah,
already showed, already established. Yeah, I
yeah,
don't.
that was good.
Do you think? Obviously, all of us having played the games, and I don't even know if you can call it spoilers for the TV show because the game's been out for years and years and years. But we have 2 episodes left. Do you see it as this next episode is um, Joel recovering, Ellie doing her thing like in the game with that other group of people, and then the second one being the big send off? Or do you think they skip over that time when Joel was recovering and just go right into them heading to the
Oh,
destination? You know what I mean? Because there is that
it's
section.
there is, and like so from the coming next.
Yeah.
There's a really interesting boss battle that the three of us know about, and anybody who's played the game that it looks like they're recreating in this next episode,
Mm-hmm.
which they don't have a lot of boss battles, obviously, in The Last of Us, but there's a very specific moment that we all
Yeah.
understand.
I intentionally
So,
don't look at the coming next, so I didn't see it. I
oh,
don't look.
snap.
No, it's fine. I just like in my head, I was trying to figure out, like, all right, 2 episodes left. Like, do they skip over that then and just go towards them going towards their destination, or do they linger on that? You know? But I guess they're gonna
They,
not skip over it.
yeah,
That's
it
fine.
doesn't look like
I
it.
don't want them to skip over that because I think it's important.
Yeah.
But that just and that's not makes me nervous, but like that's a lot to fit into the last episode then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
do wonder if they do get to show who Abby is. Like, I wonder if we get a clue as to who that Abby character is
I
going
hope
to
not.
be. Like, it's just because knowing what we know about The Last of Us Part 2,
Mhm.
they can, like,
Right.
essentially, like, put a little snippet of who that could be. Because all anybody's doing as well is like, oh, this episode's great, but who's playing Abby? Is
Right.
kind of the main thing that
Right.
everybody
Yeah.
keeps asking. So
Mhm.
we
Yeah, yeah, that's
we'll have
true.
to see. But I don't. I guess a part of me just wants us to stop because I don't want to go into too many spoilers
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
what comes
Yeah.
next before we do so. So just
I
all
mean,
we
the
can
game's
say
been
is
out
like,
for,
yeah,
like, over 10 years, right?
yeah, but there
Yeah.
are people who don't game, and like I get
True.
that, but and maybe they don't listen to the gaming portion of the podcast. They
Mhm.
just go straight to movies and TV. So I just don't want
True.
to. I don't want to spoil it for them, but I am really excited for what I guess anybody who hasn't been spoiled on it gets to experience here. I am
Yeah.
really excited for it because I can't say I would do anything, but like to go back and play The Last of Us for the first time again
Yeah.
would probably be like a
Uh,
really fun like I had so much fun doing it and like to
Mhm.
do that
yeah.
again for the first time would be good.
It's quite memorable. In the last
It
two
is.
decades, it's probably like the one of the 5 games I would want to play over again with no memory of how it goes down,
Yep.
Hmm.
to be
Agreed.
honest.
Barry, 60-second thoughts on Ant-Man?
It's only all right. Like, it is
Nope.
not a great Marvel movie by any means. Like for me, like I do like Ant-Man. I almost like the character. I almost like the Wasp more, to be honest. Like, I feel like she's so much more interesting than what they've done with Ant-Man because it doesn't seem like it's ever Ant-Man's movie. Everything just seems to happen around him. Is what
Mhm.
happens. Like, it's
Mm,
not like he's the main character in any of what are supposed to be his movies. Um, Man, some of the like Modoc is like I had to get used to him. He is jarring.
Phenomenal.
Yeah,
Phenomenal.
he's jarring at
That's how you
first.
that's how you want him to look, though. Goofy.
No, it's not that it's goofy. Like it's something with the CGI. Like it's something with the graphics department themselves. That's what I'm talking about. Is that
Mhm.
it looks it physically looks like weird. Like I almost could have done a better job of CGIing it myself. Like to be completely honest, and
See, I
that's
didn't
what.
I didn't hold it against him because Modoc has always been like gigantic stretched face, and
Mhm.
it is going to look weird, but they also said that they didn't have as much time to work on the CGI in this movie because they got pulled for Black Panther.
Yeah,
So
so
that
it's
could
like
be that could be part of it.
that is really the only like thing. I love Kang. Kang
Yeah.
really does steal it when he gets there. He is going to be a very good Marvel villain for the foreseeable future.
Jonathan
Um
Majors is the man.
yeah, he is.
I
And
love him to death.
like a part of me like his performance in this makes me want to watch Creed. I've never watched any of the Creed movies, but now a part of
What?
me wants to yeah, a part of me wants to watch 1 and 2 so that I
Did
can
you watch
watch him in
Rocky at
3.
least?
No, I've never
Oh
watched
my
Rocky.
god.
what?
You haven't
I
watched any
know.
Rocky movies?
I know. I was bored 40 well, I was raised 45 minutes outside Philly and never watched any of the Rocky movies. I'm sorry, I'm
All right.
Costa Rican. Those movies
Go
skipped
watch
me.
those now.
Yeah, like
They still
immediately,
hold up.
please.
I watched them
They
all
still
last
do.
year, and they're
How
all
do
incredible.
where would I go to watch them though? Like
They're
where can I
on
even
either HBO or Paramount or one of the two. I
Okay,
It's
I'll
think
have to
gotta
take
be,
a look.
I
yeah.
think they're on Paramount right now. I think it has all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm super excited for Creed. I will watch anything Jonathan Majors is in because
Yeah.
the TV show that he debuted on was phenomenal, and I'm forgetting the name of it now. It was
It's
on HBO.
yeah,
But that
Love Country. What
yeah,
is it? Cuz
you might be
it's
right. It's like
Lovecraftian.
Lovecraft
Yeah,
Country, and like
Lovecraft.
that first season was incredible, and then they didn't renew it for a second season, which is a crime. But it allowed him to become Kang, so all power to him because he is great.
Yeah. But yeah, like
Um,
yeah, how did you feel about it? Did you really like it? I thought it was all right. I
I
didn't think it was like
I
anything
liked it.
terrible.
I thought it was entertaining. I mean, it's a setup movie for the rest of
Yeah.
the Kang dynasty thing coming up, so I think it did its job. Ant-Man to me is never going to be like a phenomenal, like all out action Marvel movie because it's Paul Rudd. He's not an action movie star, but I think he did a good job. I think it sets up everybody else in his family, right? With their, he got some young Avengers in there with his daughter.
I
I
liked
loved
Cassie.
Modoc. I thought, yeah, I've always loved Modoc. I think he's a great character. I think they did a good job with him. But yeah, I thought it was done pretty good. It's not going to be like my favorite all time Marvel movie, but I don't think it's the worst either. Like Thor Dark World's out there.
Oh
So
my god.
I'll watch this one a million times before I watch Dark World again.
Fair enough. So I guess what I'll do is I'll go to the good place and then I'll leave
Yeah.
somewhere. But like I still have dark. Uh, Kind of quick thing about the good place. I guess like it's funny to me how like shows that I read this thing for, I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna like that, and then I end up loving like something like this. Like this show is just like it's funny. I enjoy like I enjoy Gian. You were Jason. Like Kristen Bell's character, I kind of just took her for a Disney princess, person, and she's really good. The main four of Chidi, Tiani or Tahani, John
Mm-hmm.
Ewer, Jason, and Eleanor. That's it. Yeah, Eleanor. I
Yeah.
like that. It's just a really good comedy show. I really do enjoy it, and there, I definitely think people like. I know the show was popular, but I kind of can't believe I slept on it for this long. To be honest, it is a really good.
That's
Um,
a that's another thing that I wish I could go experience again for the first time. Good place.
yeah,
Because it goes places and pun intended, but yeah. I wish I could
Uh,
go into that blind again. So good.
yeah. Like I am in the beginning. I think of season 2 now, or in the middle, or no,
Okay.
toward the
Okay.
end of season 2. Or is it season 3? Whatever. Um, but like overall, like the ending of season 1 is such like, oh my god, like you kind of didn't add up the
Yeah.
dots, but it makes sense in a way, and kind of the twist that they do at the end of season 1 really kept me like the end of season 1 was like perfect for me just to start binging season 2 right away because it is such a good ending
Yeah.
to like a first season, and it's just been carrying over, so I'm really enjoying it like so far without a doubt. Is there anything else we want to talk about before I get into dark?
I'm good.
No. Okay. Dark, probably
uh
one of
60 seconds of Megan.
Yeah. 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 Give me Megan. Give me Megan. I forgot.
Megan's good.
Okay. Just good.
It's a little
you
too
still have
cheesy.
another 45 seconds.
There was some sing Oh, okay, good. There was some singing and there was some dancing parts I did not like. It took away from it. There was no reason for it, and it made me feel a little cringy. Actually, the dancing part didn't because it was incorporated with some like nice karate. You see it in the trailer when
Yeah.
she's doing that like that thing that she does or whatever.
Yeah.
But the singing I could have done without. It's not scary.
Mm-mm.
It's not scary at all. Not that I was disheartened by that, but I don't know. Like dolls don't necessarily scare me as much, or like things that should be inanimate in terms of like a doll type function that are animate. She had some good mutilating kill parts
Yeah.
that were pretty sick. Um, I don't know how you watch a second one. I don't know if I watched the first one in the next year. I know that the second one already has a date for
Yeah.
January something 3 years from now.
Yeah.
It was good. I don't think I'll watch it again, but it was good.
I think it's more a sci-fi than a horror movie.
It is.
Yeah.
But
I
like
like
I see why it's commercially successful. I'm still struggling at why it's critically.
it.
From what I saw, that's where I stand with it.
That's fair.
I don't know.
Totally fair.
Speaking of sci-fi, Dark, on
Yes.
Dark
Netflix.
it.
Um, just so anybody kind of gets this out of the way, it is originally a German show. I am watching it with the English voiceover on it. It is spectacular. Um,
Yeah.
the English voiceover, like this is a show that the English voice acting is good enough for me to not care that it's Like, I don't mind reading subtitles. I literally watch anime all the time. Like, it's nothing new for me to like read subtitles, but I started this in English and I was like, "You know what? This is good. Like, this is not bad at all." And that's why, like, if I can suggest it as someone who can't speak German, watch it in English because it's a lot easier to digest, and there are so many complex things going on in this first season that if you miss a dialogue of sentence, you might miss everything that's going on. It feels like. Um, Dark is a sci-fi psychological thriller. It's not really a horror by any means, but overall, like, I'm not going to try and spoil it, but there are children that go missing in this town, and you kind of slowly unravel as to why they're missing and what's going on and who the main villain is as well, with it. And maybe that gets twisted around. I'm not completely sure. At this point, I only just got done the first season, but like overall this is probably, like, just alone in the first season is one of the best like sci-fi shows I've ever watched. Um
Mm-hmm.
the concepts of time travel and how the present affects the past and the past affects the present, but then also affects the future affects the present and the past. It all is really wild, the concepts they go into. Craig, I'm not sure if you've watched Dark. You should watch it. It is a really good show. And I think you and your wife may end up
Mm.
liking it. Um,
Top
just to give you
5
an
Netflix shows of all time.
Yeah, and just like
Wow.
give you an idea,
Mm-hmm.
Rotten Tomatoes has the first season at 90, like 6. Season 2 is at 100%
Yeah.
on
Wow.
Rotten Tomatoes. And it's not like this
Yep.
is a new series. This series ended in 2020, I believe. Um, Season 2 came out sometime in 2019
Oh.
or 2017. It has been here for a while, and I'm just learning about it. So, just keep that in mind, like, and it's rare to see like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes on something that is like not immediately new. So it's just like keep that in
Yeah.
mind. Like my expectations, and this might be the Rotten Tomatoes fault. My expectations for season 2 are sky high because like
They should be.
I yeah, because season 1 was really good, and I'm just so excited for what happens now in season 2. So just overall, um I feel like this didn't get enough, like, this show is over, and it's just not like Netflix. I don't feel like pushed it out enough. I had to hear this like secondhand from from like other people that I should try watching Dark because they think I'd like it. And well, they're not wrong. I love it. So
It
overall,
had a push when it came out. It wasn't like a Stranger Things size push.
Ah.
I think it's because it's foreign. I think that hurt it a little bit.
yeah, but yeah, no, it's absolutely watch it. But
I
then like
definitely need to
foreign
look
things
into
like
it.
Squid
Mhm.
Games, like Squid Game is foreign,
Yeah.
and to be honest, like of course, like the English dub for Squid Games is like, sorry, it's not good. This is
Mm-mm.
leagues better. I can't express how good the dub is in English for this. So just
Yep.
keep that in mind when you're watching it. But yeah, definitely anybody who's watching it, if you're, we end up finding so many things that like we don't want to watch on Netflix or like don't interest us. I'd say give Dark a chance. To see if you like it.
Okay.
It is strange, and if you're gonna be confused the first 7 episodes, that's okay. You're supposed to feel like that. You're supposed to be confused. So, it's not till the end of the first season in which I started to understand, and then I have a feeling I'm going to be confused again at the start of season 2, just to be completely honest. With how the this series wants to go. So, watch Dark. That's what I can say is Dark's a
Watch
really
Dark.
good show. Other than that, I do want to think we're good. Anybody got anything else to
Yeah.
say before we end it here?
I don't think so.
No, we're
Perfect.
good.
Well, I want to thank everybody for listening. It's nice to be back after a little bit of a vacation for myself. And overall, if you like it, please make sure you review it on your podcast platform, listening platform of choice. Make sure you share it with a friend. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, for just daily updates and stuff like that with breaking news for games that we've put on our social media sites and to interact with us. It's the easiest way. If you don't want to do any of that, just email us at highsensitivitypodcast@gmail.com, and we'll make sure that we get to read your comments, hypotheticals, and stuff like that on air for you. So thank you guys again for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.